I'm going to be going through my predicted 53-man roster in this video. Let's get right into it. Alright, so for some reason my camera's been acting kind of strange, so if my hair looks a little bit faded, I'm sorry, that's just kind of how it came out. But with that being said, that's not important. What's important is, don't look at my hair, what's important is that we are going to be looking at my predicted 53-man roster, and as we know, that's what you have to go down to before the season starts. So I wrote these down. This is probably my last one. This is probably my official one. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But this is who I think will make the team and who I don't think will make the team. So let's get right into it. All right, so we're going to start this off from the quarterback and work our way through the offense, then to the defense, and finish it up with special teams. And at the quarterback position, I have two quarterbacks on that 53-man roster, which means the third one may end up either on the practice squad or with another team, and that would be David Fales, because I have Matthew Stafford and Tom Savage both making the team. Then we move on to that running back position where I have Kerryon Johnson, C.J. Anderson, Zach Zenner, and Ty Johnson. So I have four running backs for the Detroit Lions, and I also threw in Nick Bawden as that fullback. You can classify him as a running back if you want to, but I'm going to say he's a fullback. So then Nick Bawden comes in, and those are really the five players that will be in the backfield, which means we're losing out on a guy named Mark Thompson, which I know some people like Mark Thompson, but unfortunately I don't have him on my list. I just don't have, there's not enough spots, man. 53, you got to cut down. Then we move on to that tight end position where I have TJ Hockenson, Jesse James, Logan Thomas, and Isaac Nauta, which means some other guys are going to be off, but I think this one's kind of obvious. Okay, we have a lot of young guys. Hockenson and Isaac Nauta are both rookies. Then you have Jesse James, who's very young from the Steelers. He has to make the team. We gave him a huge contract. And then Logan Thomas, the guy who's really had a second chance, right, from quarterback, not a tight end. He's doing his thing this offseason, so I believe he's going to earn a spot on the team. Now move on to that wide receiver position, staying in the weapons range. We have Kenny Galladay, then Marvin Jones Jr., Danny Amendola, Jermaine Kearse, and Travis Fulgham. So don't really worry about what order these come in because these can move around. Like some of these guys could be starters one time, and then next time they'll come off the bench. So with that being said, at the wide receiver position, I just have 5 wide receivers. So there are a lot of good wide receivers that are being left out here. Brandon Powell, Andy Jones. But with that being said, I had to just cut it down to 5, try to be realistic. Maybe they keep 6. I went to 5. Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, Jermaine Kearse, and Travis Fulgham is who I went with. Then, to finish off the offensive side of things, we moved to the offensive line. We actually have 9 offensive linemen because you need to have depth. We have 4 guys coming off the bench here. And to start it off, we have Taylor Decker, followed by Kenny Wiggins, then Frank Ragnow, and Graham Glasgow, then Rick Wagner. That's the starting lineup. Now we have 4 guys coming off the bench to help out, and those guys include Joe Dahl, who does everything, Joe Dahl. Then we have Odea Bushi. We also have Terrell Crosby and Andrew Donnell. So those are the nine linemen, which means guys like Bo from Wisconsin, Ryan Pope, those kind of guys are not in the mix. Unfortunately, we brought them in. I was excited to bring them in, but I don't know if I can find a spot for them. If they get on, it would mean that Andrew Donnell or something would be cut. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I really liked what they've done this offseason. So who knows? You never know. Then we move on to the defensive side of things where we start off with the defensive line. We're going to start from our inside, move our way out, and we have 8 defensive linemen making the teams. Those guys include Trey Flowers, Snacks Harrison, Mike Daniels, Deshaun Hand, Romeo Cora, Ashawn Robinson, John Atkins, and PJ Johnson. I think John Atkins here is maybe the one that not a lot of people would agree with. I've seen Atkins do a lot of good things this offseason. He's started a few times when Snacks has been out because, you know, he had to because someone had to start there. But he's still done really well at that defensive tackle position. Now, you may say, okay, they'll go with the outside or defensive end instead. But I'm going to go with John Atkins. I like that defensive tackle depth. Now, you may be thinking, oh, where's Austin Bryant? Well, he's in that linebacker position. I'm classifying him as a linebacker. You can put it either way because either way it doesn't matter. It's still 53 players. But since he can do both, I'm going to classify him as a linebacker. And for that linebacker position, we have Devon Kennard, Jelani Tavai, Jared Davis, Austin Bryant, there he is, but he can also play defensive line, so it really doesn't matter. And then we have Christian Jones, and finally, I put Miles Killebrew also in the linebacker position. I think he's not going to be a safety anymore. That's right, I think he's going to be a linebacker for 2019. We're going to keep this guy around so he can show us what he can do, and if it doesn't work out, this will be a final year. He may be cut during the season. We'll have to wait and see. With that being said, Miles Killebrew, though, will go with that linebacking group. Then we move on to that cornerback position where I have 6 cornerbacks, and those guys include Darius Slate, Amani Oruwariye, I think I'm saying that right, Rashawn Melvin, Justin Coleman, Jamal Agnew, and Tease Tabor, which means guys like Michael Ford, Marcus Cooper, D. Virgin, those guys are all out. Unfortunately, I really like what Michael Ford has done. I actually seen him do like a running play, unless they said it wrong, I don't know. But Michael Ford is in here. Marcus Cooper as well. I think some people think he might make the team, but nope, I don't have him in here. Andre's not in here either. So with that being said, those are my 6 cornerbacks. Now let's move on to that safety position where we get ready to wrap this up. I have Quandre Diggs, Tracy Walker, Will Harris, Andrew Adams, and Charles Washington. So I have 5 safeties. And now some of these are kind of confusing, right? Andrew Adams is going to make the team. He has been playing really, really well. I said in another video, he will make the team. You can bet on it. He will make the team. That's just my thoughts. Will Harris, the rookie. Quandre Diggs, Tracy Walker are set. Now it's that fifth one. Who is it? I'm going with Charles Washington because of his play in special teams. I really like what he can bring. So that means Tavon Wilson. Yes, Tavon Wilson, you are on your way out. My apologies for doing that, but that's what I got to do, man. And now finally moving on to special teams position, we have Matt Prater, Sam Martin, and Don Muehlbach. That's how we finish it off. That means Ryan Santoso will go somewhere else, but I really like Ryan Santoso. He hit a 47-yard field goal in the scrimmage. So with that being said, he'll probably end up somewhere else. I really liked what he's done. But that is my 53-man roster prediction. That's all of it, okay? And I think that's my final one. We'll have to wait and see what happens. My predictions for the season, like my record, will be coming out soon. With that being said, thank you, Prep, for watching, and I'm out.